Future Media's OneAfrica TV talks to former Health Minister Bernard Haufiku about his memories of Dr. Sam Nujoma. I am Envaalde Matheus.
Yeah, Doc, good morning once again. We've learned last Sunday sad news, passing on of our founding president, Sam Nujoma. I'm trying to look back and look at how heavily you've been involved with the SWAPO veterans and icons yourself. In a conversation that I had with you some years ago, you mentioned how you were a Toivo's doctor. We can remember the days of Nanso. But just to take us through your personal encounters and maybe the history. I'm not sure if you've met Nujoma before, after independence, but just to take us through.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. We obviously extend our condolences to the family, to the nation, to the world indeed, because of the loss of this icon of our liberation struggle and a true Pan-Africanist actually. I want to take you back at the days when I was a young learner at Diebra Catholic School here outside Windhoek. I remember around 86, 87 there, when we were very young, enthusiastic NANSO members, just about 4 years after NANSO was formed. We had been accessing restricted material from outside. There were people, journalists like yourself. I remember one of the journalists actually was the man who gave me my first SWAPO member card, and that was Raja Munamawa. Now, Raja Munamawa, Erastus Handumba, we used to call him Captain, John Lippenberg, Chris Shipanga. These were the journalists who were actually bringing SWAPO materials to us and mobilizing. Now, I got my membership card of SWAPO in 1986 from Raja Munamawa. I just learned recently that Munamawa, the father of Raja, who's Tateguru Daniel Munamawa, actually assisted founding president to pass through Botswana to go. That's just a coincidence. I'm not claiming any proximity here to the founding father. So we were very fascinated. When you see a picture of Sam Nujoma with his beard, or you see Tio Ben Gurira, or you see Dipo Amtenya, we were so enthusiastic. I remember writing a letter in 1986 to the media against one of the South African police commander, actually army commander, called Captain Bested. I still remember his name. I basically copied the style of talking, and like Nujoma saying that and that, we will defeat you. We were so fascinated. And that is the first encounter. Obviously, the struggle of the students was parallel with the struggle of workers and the struggle for the liberation of the country, up until independence. Now, after independence, I was mostly in South Africa studying medicine from 1990 to 1995. But I used to come in here, but not really having that proximity to the old man. The closest I came was these years when I was a cabinet minister. He used to call me to his house. Yeah, comrade, do you want to come over for dinner? Dr. Ndume is also here. So we go to the house, we talk, and he will warn me, yeah, we need to work hard. Tulongeni. Not to be beggars. This is our country. So you can see the enthusiasm, the determination in the man, the energy and the love for his country. These are all attributes that we know about Sam Nujoma, and everybody knows about this.
I think while we are still there, just a moment of maybe a moment of happiness, or a moment where you've done something and he had to call you on, that you can remember.
Well, the closest that came, I think it was about a clinic in the north, where because of the constraint of the budget, we had to change the budget from that clinic. If I'm not mistaken, it was a Uvudia's medical center. And Uvudia is really far away in the remote area, and I hope by now they have a clinic. So he called me now, comrade, when are we getting the Budia clinic? And there was comrade, the old man that Amte Nyandafa, who was the councillor there. He will also call, and I have to say that the Gurus, I'm coming, because there were so many clinics that are behind. France Fontaine in Kunene, which is also remote. Onyuva, which is even further from Mokpo. And then you go to the east, Ongalulu, you know, it's a whole thing. So, but I had to go to his house and explain exactly this is what happened at the Guru, but the determination is there, we're not giving up. And then he said, okay, then we must get it done. Let's just work on it, comrade. And he sort of inspired you with his positive and forward-looking mentality, because he said, for my own experience, he's a man or was a man who never looked back. No matter what's the situation. When he arrived at the problem, my impression is that he immediately tried to figure out what are the solutions in this. Not to fold himself or moan or cry or let's say, he says, let's pray. Or no. He was a pragmatic man. And that is what we are missing in founding president. And I think the spirit need to continue. We have to take it up, especially the young one like yourself, because this is how we will have to drive our country forward and develop it and make it really prosper like we all want.
Yes, I want to take you back again a little bit. 1990, you've alluded to events, of course, of 1989 or 1986 when you mentioned Nanso. I'm trying to look at 1989, 1990, 1989, people were preparing obviously for the new government, yes. And then 1990 it comes. Just tell us, how old were you? Maybe not to mention the age, yeah. But where were you? What was the excitement like? Yeah. Were you at the Independence Stadium yourself? Yeah. How was the Sam Nujoma relationship with the Namibian state?
Unfortunately, I did not attend the independence celebration in 1990. I was at medical school in Johannesburg. But I was roughly 20 years old, I must say. But the enthusiasm is there. I remember in Johannesburg with a comrade from the ANC, and they were admiring us. Hey, guys, you are at least getting your independence. When are we going to get ours? Even Mandela was not released at that. But they really supported us. I remember in Cape Town in 1989, because that's where I spent my first year before I went to Johannesburg. When we heard the comrades are now back, and when we saw on the South African Broadcasting Corporation, the founding president kissing the soil, that was the moment, really. We felt like actually abandoning our study in Johannesburg and come back to meet this man. Obviously, we came back in '89, but we didn't come to Windhoek. We were a lot of students. We voted in Grunau in 1989, the first election. But then came the moment, 21st of March, 1990, watching on the South African Broadcasting Corporation, the flag of South Africa going down and the new flag for independence, Namibia, coming up, and one of our own, our father, our icon, taking the lead to be the president of this country. It was like a dream. We really felt like, Lou, we need to go to Namibia now. So by then we didn't have a WhatsApp platform to text or say, we were just watching it all and watching Frankie Frederick running with the torch and lighting it there. It was a moment. And this is something I think no one will ever forget, and no one will ever forget to this attribute by this man we are mourning at the moment. So that's the moment.
Sam Nujoma was so close to a lot of sectors in Namibia. You speak to some people who describe him in the education sector, the agriculture, the medicine, and yourself got that, maybe I should call it the privilege of leading the medical sector in the country. What legacy do you say Nujoma leaves in the medical sector, having of course told us that he was on your case to make sure that there is a clinic in over there, but maybe some other things that you think, look, Nujoma was really serious about the medical sector?
Well, the data is there. If you take the life expectancy at independence, it was roughly 54 years old. It's now almost close to 70, it's about 60 something. And that hasn't just come along the way. It started there when we make sure that all the children are born in hospital or health facility, when we make sure that all the children get vaccinated, when we make sure that all the health information that are required are attended to, and that hospitals such as Windhoek Central have got a facility. The cardiac unit at Windhoek Central Hospital is a dream that started long time ago during Sam Nujoma. Take the medical school, for instance. The founding father went on a head hunt and get a consultant from Kenya and other consultants from Germany, and gave the instruction to Professor Lazarus Angula, then or Peter Kashavili, one of the two, that we want to set up a medical school here to train our own doctors. As we speak now, the medical school is training more than 100 students and graduating more than 80 every year. They just graduated, they are medical specialists actually last year, or they are graduating it this year. One has to pass there to see how the medical school actually look like. This is one of the legacy of the founding father, as far as I'm concerned. Of course, it has been carried on. There were ministers like Minister Kamui, ministers before us, and people who work hard. But this is his dream. He is the man who had the vision that we need to train our own people. Also, at UNAM, you know, he went to take up geology after retiring as a politician. And this is to motivate young people and to tell them that only education can truly liberate us and let us do whatever we want to do. Without education, we can't grow. These are all his attribute, his legacy, as far as the health sector and other sectors are concerned.
Yes. Doctor, during our off-air conversations, you mentioned how you hosted the founding father at your famous tournament back at the village. Take us through. We know getting close to or inviting people of that magnitude to events can be quite lengthy and costly. Just take us through.
But more than what you said, it requires trust. It requires trust that not only the founding father, not only me, but even his security apparatus. Can we take this man to this little house in the village at Onelewa? This is now, our village is also called Onelewa. It's not the other Onelewa. So when I reached out to Comrade Sipale and the other commander of the police that is guiding founding father, I explained very well. Say, we have a tournament, but it's not just a play. We always want somebody influential to give a message to the young people on almost all social issues, whether it's alcohol, schooling. And we think that the founding father is an appropriate candidate. Do you think he can come to Onelewa? And then to everyone's surprise in our organizing committee, he says, yes, the founding father is coming to Onelewa. When the news spread in Onelewa and all the adjacent villages, including Angola, it was like wildfire. Everybody now, for the second time, because he was there during the political campaign to sort of address it. And then they asked, where exactly is the old man going to come? At the man Kwaluvala's house. That's my residence because I stay in my grandmother's house there. So what are you going to do, doctor, to make sure? They say, well, the security apparatus will be there. So when they notice just a week before the event, there are police cars, and then they know, this man is coming. When he came, it was not just a moment for the soccer players, the netball player, the villagers there themselves. They had to come to Menua Shirongo, that's my grandmother's residence, to meet Tateguru. They met him, they shook hands. They sat with him. We have a little touch room where I greet visitors. That's where we sat. There was even a small tent there. He never went to the tent. He was under this touch roof with myself, with the old people, interacting just like he's one of the villagers. That's how down to earth this man was. And that's what we need to learn from him, that he can go anywhere, he can interact with anyone. And he left that message not only to young people, but the villagers that he delivered, cautioning the young people to be strict with their education, to be disciplined. And there's always one word he never lived out: be disciplined. And I've seen him saying this in a clip. I think he addressed the exiles in 1974 in Lusaka, warning them that we are fighting a strong enemy. We have to be disciplined and maintain value, you know. So he has been very strong on that, and that's the message he brought to us in the village, which inspired us, still with us up to now. I still have a copy of his speech at my tournament, and obviously we want to revive the tournament. Hopefully this year it will be there again, and get someone again to deliver the speech in the footsteps of the founding father.
Doctor, what can you say you've learned from this man? Of course, we've spoken a lot about how great this man was. We spoke about it, the legacy that he leaves behind. But personally, what have you learned from him? And what do you think, or what do you say the young people should take from this giant as he departs from us?
To be honest with you, never look back is one thing I've learned. Pragmatic. You come to the problem, you understand what the problem is, and you devise a solution immediately without going to too much consultation, too much reporting. What needs to be done must be done. If we make a mistake along the way, we will rectify that mistake backwards and not wait until everything is right. He was a pragmatic leader, and I think this is what enables him to lead the guerrilla warfare for so many years under so much environmental condition, and facing a formidable army. South African army was the most powerful army on the continent, by the way. But founding father managed, of course, with his colleague, I mean, he's a team leader, he wasn't alone, to convince as many young people that, look, you have to fight for your freedom. And many people went into exile, took up arms, and many young people stayed and went in the street, like we went in 1988 together with the workers. We almost made the country ungovernable. So that is the spirit and the ability to inspire that we need to learn from this man, and the determination that when we decide on doing something, we do it. If there is a mountain, that we crush the mountain. We're not going to go like rivers this way and that's it. So that's what I learned from him. And the vision actually he has. He could think far ahead, not only in a political sense, even in a practical, highly scientific sense. He was the man who proposed that we must get water from the dam there in the DRC. If we had that water, probably this would be a flourishing agricultural country by now. He could see far ahead, and that is what we need to learn from him and take forward, especially the younger generation, because the template had been laid by him. All we need to do is to build on it.
He has laid a template for us. I, as a journalist, might have omitted something that you personally felt you should say about Nujoma, and that's my last question. I always like to say maybe there's something that you would want to say last before I close off this interview about this great man.
I need to say, I'm not saying he was an angel. Nobody's an angel, and nobody's a scream as an egg. We know from those that were in exile. Obviously, it's not easy to lead a group of people. They were rebellious, they were what, and as a human being, he will make an error. But that is nothing compared to the achievement. I think Namibia was blessed to have a leader of this caliber, and I believe there are many more we can mobilize to lead this country. Maybe not exactly like Sam Nujoma was, but at least someone who can take the torch forward, whether a woman or a man, it doesn't matter, and it doesn't matter your culture or whatever background. So he really paved the way for us to reach our destiny. We must just stay focused on that. We must remain positive. We must remain determined and disciplined too. Like he used to say, we must be disciplined and be honest that if I entrusted you with this national resource, you must not put it in your pocket. You must be mindful of others, mindful of somebody else there. Be empathic of somebody else there. I think these are the attributes and the value that we need to concretize, move forward with this. And I think he will sit down or lay down there in his grave, smiling at least, and say, well, at least this country is taking a direction that I had a vision for it to take, and not a deviation from that. That's really what I want to say.
Thanks a lot, Doctor.